we talk about all these libertarian principles, and we talk about government getting too big and needing to harness government power in different areas. And sometimes it can be kind of theoretical because it feels like it's not necessarily happening. I mean, we kind of see it happening in DC. But when COVID happened, it was all of a sudden like you felt that in your hometown. And I think it just lit a fire under me. And I realized, we're going to lose a lot of our rights and we're not going to get them back. And I think we all realized that very early on, and you could tell that nobody was going to nobody's going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I also think people don't know their history, so we created a series called Freedom Over Fear, where we look at all these different periods of crises in American history and show how people have lost their rights, and we didn't get them back because we want to. The government loves a crisis because they can take away everything that we hold dear. And we almost forget, we have a short memory as a population, and we forget that we had those rights or how much we need them, and we're really willing to give them away for a sense of security. So we wanted to create this series. We talk about several different things. You can talk about some of the topics if you want.
Yeah. I love the title Freedom Over Fear because I feel like this year has taught us so much that like when you let fear govern your life and dictate your decisions, it ends very, very badly, and you give up everything that makes life worth living because life is a dangerous business. Nobody gets out of it alive, and you have to take risk in order to have a meaningful life. And so I'm very dismayed by how much people have allowed their fears to control them and take a whole year out of their lives that they could have been using for traveling or exploring the world or doing all these important things that are important parts of life. And so, we wanted to take a look back at some historical abuses that have happened in times of crisis in the past, and how whenever these emergencies happen, like Mike Lee called it emergency socialism, whenever emergencies happen, the government makes a power grab, essentially because they can, because everybody's afraid and they're like, help us, protect us. And, there's a lot of examples of it. The New Deal in the Great Depression is a great example of it. There's all kinds of abuses of power there, basically fascist economic policies where FDR did price controls, prevented businesses from operating the way they wanted to operate, seized the means of production a little bit, banned the private ownership of gold. You had, before that, or during that, you had prohibition, where people were prevented from drinking alcohol because of the fears of the dangers of alcohol.
Internment camps for Japanese Americans.
Which is one of the worst abuses ever. No one really talks about it that much anymore, but the idea that you're putting American citizens in concentration camps essentially is horrifying, and people remember FDR as a good president. He did that,
And
these things.
A softer version of that, and I want to be clear, I'm not comparing the two, but curfews, arbitrary curfews.
Yes.
You can't be out after 10 p.m. Stay-at-home orders, where depending on where you are, you can literally get fined or worse for doing these things. And governors and mayors are just whipping this stuff out. And I'm like, why don't people see that there are implications to giving these guys such power?